Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's coverage of the YesterYear Racing League. This evening, we're excited to bring you coverage of all the action from iRacing's virtual Richmond Raceway here in virtual Richmond, Virginia. McCarty Entertainment is here to bring you action from all types of racing, including the weekly Fast Friday series. No matter what you're racing, we can bring the action to life. My name is Justin Prince. Alongside the booth tonight is Brendan Laster with Jorge Canales working the controls as our producer. The YesterYear Racing League, for those who have not tuned in for the first parts of the season so far, is a unique one to the platform. It emulates the historical races for the 1990 Wheel and Modified Series, as well as the 1990 Southern Modified Auto Racing teams, also known as the Smart Tours events. These races will be identical to what you see from the real-world races in terms of distance. We're excited to bring you bits of history throughout the season, including tonight. Tonight, the race being emulated is the 1990 Richmond 200. It was the first ever modified race at Richmond Raceway. Rick Fuller picked up the win that day. Braden, these are some of the top drivers in all of iRacing and modifieds. And as we've talked about over the season, invited drivers include members of OBRL, Bootleg Racing League, and the Red Light Racing Leagues. With that being in mind, what should we expect from these drivers tonight after an interesting start to the year?
That best of the best, I think, is a great way to describe these guys. Tom Olgo has put on an absolute clinic the past couple weeks, leading 89% of all overall laps, including almost a clean sweep last week and started on pole, led flag to flag. It was 1,000th of a second from having the fastest lap of the race. So it's going to be everyone trying to chase Tom Olgo for sure. And it's going to be interesting to see, though. I look at qualifying. We'll get there in a second. He's not going to be starting up front for the first time in a hot minute. You got a lot of newcomers in, a couple guys, Torrance Childs, Rory Collins. They're all coming in kind of late to the scene, but they're on some fierce competition. And you just mentioned 3 big leagues. We do have our first independent in Torrance Childs being the only driver to not be from one of those 3 leagues. So interesting show for sure for these guys. I think perseverance is going to be a big deal here.
We'll see how the drivers fare out tonight here at Richmond Raceway. Of course, the action track's seen a lot of racing over the past, well, few decades at the very minimum. But remember, around that time, just a couple years prior to that, Braden, they did configure the track to what you see today. So it makes sense where it lines up in terms of where the modifieds came into play. Essentially, it went from about a half mile to the 3/4 of a mile we see today.
Yeah, that's basically Daytona for the Wheel and Modified Tour guys in real life and here on iRacing. This is one of the biggest tracks. I believe it is the official biggest track they go to. Definitely a great race weekend for sure. They're kind of a support series nowadays. And to this past weekend when the Cup Series was there, they had the Wheel and Tour Series as an actual support to the NASCAR guys. So this is a huge deal for the modified guys to kind of go out here and race on big track. And one thing too, like I said, it's like the Daytona of these guys. This is some of the fastest speeds we're going to see from a lot of these guys all season long. They're going to be hitting a 130, 140 down the straightaway, and they don't really have a whole lot of off-throttle time too either, so allowing a perfect opportunity to maybe set up a good pass, carry some momentum through the corner, and maybe just send it a little bit.
Let's take a look at the starting grid. Jerry Isaacs tonight is the pole sitter, so a change of pace compared to Ogle the first few weeks. Then it's Ryan Pittman who will be starting alongside tonight. Dave Copeland, he's been a contender for top 3 so far most of the season. Brian Bianchi starts alongside. Then it's row 3, Rex Hoyle alongside the 2-time series winner so far, Thomas Ogle. Donnie Moore picked up a lot of confidence in the AI algorithm. He'll start alongside James Waldo, Lloyd Moore, and Gavin Adams, your top 10.
Roy Collins, new kid on the block, going to be starting 11th outside Jeffrey Light, and in 12th, Bruce Pearson, 13th, Michael Dow, and 14th, Steve Hilbert, 15th, Mark Fish, 16th, Brian Johnson and James T. Bray, 17th, 18th, Todd Liston, Jonathan Thier, going to be rounding out your top 20, and Thomas Hilbert, Bert Dodson, Torrance Childs, also new kid on block, and Alan Wanamaker going to be rounding out your field. Those 4 outside the top 20. Very tight qualifying from 1st to 22nd, about 0.6 of a second.
200 laps on the board tonight from iRacing's virtual Richmond Raceway as these drivers get themselves situated and ready to go. Let's first talk about the keys to tonight, especially when it comes to the modifieds. A day race, mind you, on what is cool air temp but hot track temp.
Yeah, I think perseverance is going to be a huge deal here. Looking back at the real world Richmond 200 that took place here in 1990, only 9 drivers finished on the lead lap, and only about 15 or 16 even finished the race to begin with. Some lows being as much as 30 or so laps down. So it's going to be very interesting to see kind of who is able to be there at the end, kind of going for it. But I think you got to be able to take the checker to even have a chance of finishing in first.
So Jerry Isaacs in control of the field the next few moments or so. He's been talked about throughout the algorithm that the series uses for predictions as one of the drivers to keep an eye on for clean racing. 14 starts here, 90 laps led. He's going to add to those totals tonight as the green flag waves. Let's go modified racing from the action track. Clean start up at the front. Jerry Isaacs already up by 2 car lengths. Ryan Pittman running away for the crowd, 2 by 2, multiple rows deep. Already the racing into full bloom here at Richmond.
Definitely a change of pace for Isaac's DNF last weekend at Hickory, was one of the lowest finishing drivers in 22nd. Hasn't had a great start, like I mentioned, at DNF last weekend, 11th at Martinsville. Going to lead the first couple laps here, though.
Track position critical throughout these series races we've already seen throughout the season. But a lot of drivers looking to see if they can gain track position. Bianchi has not found the bottom of the racetrack yet amongst the top 5. And this is a bottom-feeding racetrack much of the way.
For sure, you can definitely make a move around the outside if you want to, but tire wear is going to be a huge deal here. These drivers, they have 3 sets in the pits, but we just mentioned it, 200 laps here. You're going to have to try and pace and spread your tires as much as you can, and maybe save a set for the end. But cautions, no stage breaks back in 1990, so we saw last week pretty much go almost caution-free. So it's going to be very interesting to see if a caution comes out when you come down and take tires if it does.
So far, very calm start to the racing action. We talked about the historical connection. As we take a look at the back of the field and how these drivers race it out here, the first modified race at the time was a part of the Winston Twin 200s, they called it, which was also with the stock car event. We mentioned Fuller was the one who picked up the win, but that was over Mike McLaughlin, a well-known driver of the NASCAR circuit. Jen Leatley also finished 3rd that day. Dennis Setzer won in what was a NASCAR sportsman race held that same day.
Yeah, they also go back to the 90s. You see guys like Mike Stefanik that were racing only up to a couple of years ago and in the NASCAR Hall of Fame now. And it's funny you mentioned Rick Fuller, who won this race. His brother, Jeff Fuller, was also competing, and we seem to also have a set of brothers as well competing in the YesterYear race here tonight. Stephen Hilbert and Thomas Hilbert are running in the 14th and 22nd respectively. So just like in 1990, we have a set of brothers.
But the interesting trend that might be interesting if it crosses over today is lead changes. There are multiple cautions, but also 13 different lead changes back in the 1990 season. So far, clean air throughout the season has been the key part of, well, staying up at the front. Lots of these drivers in traffic have had tricky times in traffic.
Yeah, traffic's been a huge deal, especially last week. We saw at Hickory, you had a lot of guys getting loosey-goosey right in front of the leaders and almost create Costco parking lot. So it was very dicey for sure. Now, we're on a lot bigger track than Hickory, so you're going to have a lot of room to kind of go and hide, maybe run the high line and just manage your tires overall better and not sending it in the corner as hard. Hickory's a very abrasive surface and definitely known for its tire wear. So I don't think we're going to see as much as that necessarily as we did last week. But one mistake in their entire race can be over. Not just yours, but also the leaders of someone else. No crash repairs for these drivers either.
Keeping an eye on that lead grouping and how some of these drivers are continuing to try and deal with the dirty air. Already 11 laps into the action this time by. So when you see this so far tonight, the patience game already on display. 1 to 2 tenths of fall off per 10 laps seems to be the average. Here's an interesting though about the last race from Hickory. The race went quicker than the real world equivalent. There's a chance we might see that tonight if it goes the same trend, green the whole race.
Well, I think the speed just over the years have gone so much quicker. I'm not 100% sure on what chassis or what year the iRacing scan's based off of, but I know it's at least a lot, probably I'd say 2, maybe 3 decades newer than what they were running back in 1990. So that, for reference, a quick time in 1990 was set by George Kent Jr. at 21.813. That would be the 3rd slowest lap here tonight. So, like I mentioned, the first to 22nd all be within 6 tenths of one another. That would have basically put him 23rd, about 4 tenths behind 22nd. So, quick time tonight almost actually was over a second faster than what it was back in 1990. So, the technology has changed so much. The tire has changed so much. Just the driving style and to the track. I'm not sure if they ever put a grip compound down on the real Richmond. I know it's not a huge deal here in iRacing, but with it being a decent decently new configuration, I don't think they were worried about that back in 1990.
Not in 1990, but I remember back in those 2000 eras, they talked a lot about the sealer, I think they basically call it, that made the track surface more darker than what it is today. But the main trend is still prevalent. Sealer, no sealer, PJ1, no PJ1, super glue or no super glue to be able to stick the top. Whatever it matters, you're going to need to stay at the bottom of the racetrack if you want to get the job done tonight. These top 4 seem to be pretty lockstep in that. Some drivers in the back are not so lucky. Some of the drivers that are starting to progress the wrong way include a couple competitors, such as Todd Liston trying to make his way back forward. Munsell Stephen Hilbert, many others are trying to stop any bleeding from the bottom line, or from losing the bottom.
Exactly that. I think you see it kind of what we saw last week. You have a 2 or 3, maybe a 4-car breakaway, and as we get later in the run, you'll see some guys in the middle of the pack start to make up spots. Those that save tires a lot better than the guy before. And we got a wreck in the back. Caution already.
First caution of the evening, and it's the 60 machine. That's Michael Dow going around. And so, the DQ machine loses at least a lap. Very likely can find out who got it, because there is a car 69 without a front tire on their chassis.
Yeah, I'm sure we're going to get a replay here in a sec. I'm not really sure what caused that. I believe it was more of it looked like a hardware failure, if anything, for Michael Dow.
He's already towed, and you see already the meatball flag. Let's take an hour look here.
It's going to go through turn 3 and 4. Just finds that pink and purplish car right there on the screen. The camera's focused on him. He's going to come out of turn 4. That was Mark Fisher in front of him. Braids goes on the outside, but it seems Michael Dow just lost speed. He comes out of the corner on the gas and just hits the brakes and slows down about 30, 40 miles an hour. And nothing to 69 Jonathan Thier what he could have done.
Something broke.
I don't know if his screen turned off, maybe? Like, that's what it looked like, JP. He had something happen where he just said, I'm out.
And just like that, a couple drivers with significant damage. Jonathan Thier was the one who hit the back end there. A couple tire changes already, including James Bray and a few others towards the back. Remember, there are 3 tire sets available in the pit lane for tonight's race. At the very least, we're expecting 1 stop to make it on the gas. So drivers in the field electing to take tires include a couple of your leaders. Isaacs and Pittman gave up track position to get fresh rubber after just 20 laps.
Yeah, I don't know if I like that move, because now they're going to have 2 sets for 180 laps. It's going to be about 90 laps a set. And that's, if a caution comes out with 15 to go and you've already put on the final set, I think that's going to be a huge difference. They're talking about the fall off being a tenth about every 10 laps, especially if you get a caution when, after 60, 70 laps and you don't have any more tires to put on. You're looking at, half second plus fall off compared to guys with new tires, and they're just throwing their race away. So I don't know if I exactly like that move from Isaac and Pittman. We're going to have to see if it works out. I think it works out long term. We do have confirmation of Michael Dow. His wheel just turned off on him.
Yeah, that did not look like a pretty circumstance there. But now these drivers are about to get ready to go. Single file restart. it looks like the field getting ready for that next time by. Now, here's the thing with Dale Copeland. He is currently third in the point standings. But also, remember, at a certain point, you start getting penalties if you cause incidents. He is already 2 warnings in the first 2 races. He needs to have a clean race if he gets marred in traffic, or better yet, fighting for the race lead tonight.
Yeah, Copeland trying to have a good, clean finish. Did get that second place at Martinsville, kind of put him in that podium spot in the points. That 8th last week at Hickory, but he started second. And it's kind of faded back. We talked about guys not really having long run speed. That was one of the guys that we saw late in the race kind of fall off like a rock, not really able to have anything. Then again, we did finish that race on an extremely long green flag run. I think it was upwards of 120 or so laps. So it's hard to manage tires and put 100 plus laps on the rear.
Coming up to the restart, this time by Light Terrell on top of the iRacing pace truck. Already 23 laps down when the green flag flies. Your top 5 is Copeland, Ogle, Lloyd Moore, Waldo, and Linden. Leiden should say. Now, see how this restart flares on up here. Again, YesterYear racing action continuing here on McCody Entertainment. Green flag is out, backing away from Richmond. A clean start from the 55. Already 2 and 3 wide to the back of the field.
A lot of guys trying to sort it out, that single file restart. We got one, though, coming out of the pits. I believe that's Michael Dowd. Michael Dowd back on track, 5 laps down. So we do have 23 of our original 24 starters back on track. But Dale Copeland continues to be out front in front of Thomas Ogle. The question is, when you got Thomas Ogle behind you, the question is not if, but when.
So the patience game is on to see how the strategies play out here. Your points leader for the series already up to second as a result of the strategy calls. Seems to be chomping at the bit here to try and close up the gap to Copeland.
Ogle actually hasn't really had to make a whole lot of passes all year. We do have an interesting stat. You want to talk about making a quality pass, because I believe is a pass counting inside the top 5. Ogle hasn't made a single quality pass. The reason for that is because he's always been up front. Like, started up front and stayed there.
That's wild. Well, it's not surprising, but it's wild that he hasn't had to make a pass. By the way, black flag, you've seen the driver peeling down there. That was Alan Wanamaker picking up a black flag for the restart. Here's Thomas Ogle. Already showing the nose a little bit. Still needs to close up a few car lengths to be able to do something here. Just can't seem to close up the gap. Right about here is where this has been almost like an air bubble.
I've heard a lot of guys talk about that too, especially on the newer tire model. I mean, just for the modifieds, but for the NASCARs, is to get so close, and just kind of lose that front grip and to get tight coming off, and the guy in front of gets a better drive off, and it's a big training throughout the whole field. But like we mentioned though with Ogle, he's led 89% of the laps, 311 out of 350, I believe, of the laps in the first 2 races combined in the night.
Also had a good track record here, but right now he's trying to provide pressure. Copeland to the wall. Here comes Thomas Ogle to the race lead. Thomas Ogle, your points leader, to the point.
That'd be like the greatest move. He's gonna get turned.
Oh no!
No, I don't know if that's some crumb horn from Copeland. I don't think it was. I think Ogle just kind of got loose on his own. And Copeland just didn't expect a big checkup. Yeah, Ogle just went below the yellow line, guys up front in the marbles, and just upset the rear of the car, and around it went. He's going to be able to continue, but he's going to fall all the way back to 7th, about 3.5 seconds back. Dale Copeland to the point.
So no caution, we stay green, and Thomas Ogle will end up having a lot of lost track position. He had been the fastest on the track prior to that point. Next up though, look who's on the deck. It's Lloyd Moore. We've seen some solid speed from the 26 this season, and that Ricky Craven Motorsports machine wants to go.
That Lloyd driver second in points, has that second place finish last week at Hickory and a 7th at Martinsville. Pretty good start to him, although Thomas Olgo has built a huge points bubble. I believe it's 54 points separates Thomas Olgo to Lloyd Moore, so that one mistake from Olgo is definitely going to help Lloyd Moore is able to keep that pace. We've seen a lot of guys that dip that left front below the yellow line. They're coming out too to give them a better drive off, but one mistake that Thomas Olgo did, and it's going to send the spinning around.
For what he's seen in multiple series, though, you do that, it can cause a big crash, and nearly did there. Side by side for the lead. Does anybody have the chance to join this? Lloyd Moore looks to try and find a way to sail through. He does. Lloyd Moore to the race lead. Our first lead change fully done on track. Dale Copeland doesn't want to give this up, though. Back to the inside for the point again.
Copeland going to use that inside advantage through 1 and 2, takes the lead back from Lloyd Moore. Lloyd Moore using the outside advantage, gets the drive off of turn 2. Should have this one going into 3 and 4. He's going to clear Copeland. Copeland last time around had that advantage coming out of 4. He won't have it this time.
The second group is starting to take down some rubber. That's why we're starting to see a lot of drivers arcing it down, it seems. It's almost like you need to get to the top now to get a pass, which is not so easy to do at Richmond, obviously.
Definitely not. Another driver's having a real good run, James Wald. Had that 5th last week and then a 24th way back at Martinsville. It's not the greatest stuff, but he moved up, get this 13 spots in the points last week after that top 5.
One of the 5 drivers that are considered a dark horse potential for the race win tonight. So far, keeping a solid tempo with Leiden also in that respective main group. Donnie Moore has just parked it for the race. Also of note, Alan Wanamaker had a series of black flags. He's now out of the race as well. So 2 different drivers are now officially off the racetrack. Keeping up with the battling up towards the front, though. For those curious on the average pace, 3/4 of a second of fall off now. We're right on that trend, about 1/10 of fall off every 10 laps still. These drivers will eventually need a caution.
They talk about drivers going off the racetrack. We do have Jonathan Thier back on, who was involved in that lap 27 or 28 accident where he lost his right front tire. So he's going to be about lap 17 or 18. So he's going to be about 20 laps down low. So he is back on track. He's picking up spots. He should pass Donnie Moore before too long. And actually, Alan Wallmaker just did also come back on track himself, albeit 8 laps down. So a lot of guys that are kind of turning laps, picking up spots. I'm not sure what happened to Donnie Moore.
Yeah, that one is an interesting one. We'll see if we get the answer for that in a moment or so. Believe he pulled down under green as he had been running in 21st position. We're still racing on the track, though. The other Moore still continuing up at the point. Now, let's talk about those who have taken tires. Right now, Ryan Pittman is the first of those on the freshest rubber here. The 08 machine, 5 seconds behind your race leader. He passed Isaacs in traffic and is running away from Isaacs, in fact, right here. Everybody else is an hour second or so back who is on that tire strat. So far, they're about the exact same pace as your front drivers.
Yeah, it's just one thing I didn't really like about that strategy call. I don't think they're going to do anything different. They're going to burn up a lot of rubber getting through the pack. And Pittman, though, inside that top 10, about 5 seconds back from Lloyd Moore, your leader. So I think you'd rather have that extra set late in the race, but we'll have to see how it plays out. I think if it goes long run, we do have a driver pitting. I'm not sure who that was. And is that Alan?
That's Alan Wanamaker. It has not been a good night. He picked up a black flag, tried to serve it, didn't get it clear, came back in, towed on the back straightaway on the apron. The league owner is not having a good night. He is currently your 3rd last on the circuit, 9 laps down, and he just disqualified himself.
I think he just wanted to beat Donnie Moore. I think that's all it was. He came out, did enough laps to beat Donnie Moore, and he's going to park it and call it a night.
Yeah, gotta be hard to come back from 9 laps down here at a racetrack like this. No lucky dogs. Single file restart still. Also to think about in terms of some of the movement, Brian Johnson is also in this train. He's your current biggest mover. Currently from 17th to 6th. Slowly but surely, though, Thomas Ogle is also about to join the lead pack again. He had been about 10-15 car lengths back of that group after the spin earlier.
So some guys find some good mid-race, late pace speed here. Now is the time when you start to see who's really good at saving tires and who's not. This is that money spot where they're going to lose a ton of time or make up, and you really don't. It's hard as a driver mentally to kind of save your tires. You want to go as fast as you can, as hard as you can every single lap, and you kind of got to pack yourself up, especially with this modified. We're dealing, 500-600 plus horsepower here. It's really easy to burn off the rears, especially on corner exits when we get back to the gas. But we're going to see who's been most patient on their wear, and I'm sure we're going to see some drivers start to make some mid, I guess, stage charges.
Already almost a quarter of the way through. Keeping an eye on the leaders. Copeland yet again looking for some moves here. This time he's trying the diamond line. Nearly ran over the back of Lloyd Moore, in fact, to try and get some of these launches down. They are starting to reach lap traffic, though. How does the lap traffic point to the dynamic of things? Because the leader's pace compared to those at the back of the track's pace, just a 10th. But that's still significant because of how much the traffic that's a 10th off is grouped together.
Well, you want to talk about being a 10th off that lap traffic. The first car in front of him is Jonathan Fear, who's actually on about 30 or so lap fresher tires than them because he's in the pits for so long. So he's actually turning laps identical, if not quicker than their leaders. It just kind of depends on the lap. They're going back and forth, but in front of him, we got some heaviest traffic for sure. Hilbert, Burt Dodge, and Michael Dow, who had that damage come down. I'm not 100% sure if he got it all fixed. And then Torrance Childs and some other guys back there kind of duking it out. So you don't want to give up position. You definitely don't want to take out the leader too. In the drivers' meeting, these guys were, I don't want to say encouraged, but with no lucky dogs, no wave arounds, it's just hard racing like it was back in 1990. They're expected to race to put a guy lap down. They're not expected to pull over and give it to you. Now, that's a driver's choice. They can be nice, be courteous, and get to that spot and let you put that lap down, and they're effectively any chance of winning the race. But you can expect to see some of these lap guys maybe fight to not go a lap down.
Thomas Ogle, you see in the backdrop there, did make a pass, by the way. He is now up to 6th after making a move on Bruce Pearson. Looking at the race leaders again. Thomas Ogle absolutely is flying. You know why? Before that pass, and in fact after that pass even, he has been up to 3/100ths quicker a lap for the past 15 laps on the average. Essentially, over the past 15 laps, he's been nearly half a second quicker if you add up all the couple hundredths together.
I think Dow is going through pit road and let the leaders spot. I think he's going to get being courteous. He's already more full laps down. He's going to lose there. Jonathan Fear also just made a move onto Donnie Moore and London.
So traffic continues to build around the racetrack, keeping an eye, though, on how Ogle plays things. He is charging and charging hard. In fact, nearly charging the corners. Take a listen. It's getting smoother and smoother when it comes to the throttle movement. All that's while the battle is heating up for 4th in front. Leiden loses the bottom. Brian Johnson making a move. 27, able to jump up, and here comes Ogle. He licks the stamp, pokes it inside, and Thomas Ogle back in the top 5.
Ogle making some quick work of that traffic. Saw Leiden go too wide there with Brian Johnson. So took an opportunity, saw a hole and filled it. Now he's got Brian Johnson in his sights. Next up after that's going to be James Water for the final podium position. Lap traffic is starting to play a factor as we went around Torrance Childs, who took up a second or so for a fight and didn't really change the battle for the lead at all. But Lloyd Moore continues to lead the way as we're over a quarter of the way through this one. We're on pace to be quicker than a real world race, JP. We're going to be about 15, maybe 20 or so minutes quicker if we're able to maintain this pace.
I can't believe I had to ask this question with the modifieds now. Then again, I've asked this with the late model stock. How long can you go on a tank of gas here at Richmond? Because if it goes green, those drivers who stayed out obviously can't go on fuel. let alone even the people who pit. Because in the Cup car, you can only go 130.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see anyone really be able to push it over 100 laps. I don't have an exact number on that. I will get one in a second, though. But judging by my math, I did a couple laps earlier. I think they're going to be at around 90, give or take. I'll confirm that in just a second. But I think we're definitely going to see some sort of green flag pit stops here in a little bit.
Green flag pit stops in a modified, not easy either, because here's the thing. At normal Richmond, you lose up to 2 laps, depending on where you are in the modern speeds. But the modified, remember, you pick up the tire. They're not used to live pit stops. Under green, mind you. The pit stops, if you take tires, can be an extra 10 to 20 seconds compared to the modern standard in NASCAR today.
And not just that, but this is a track that's very tricky to get on the pit road. It's not open and wide. It's a very tight and narrow entrance right at the past the middle or so of the corner. So we got to carry speed through the corner to not lose that much time and then be able to, crank the front wheels, get enough grip, and hopefully not hit the pit barrel coming into the pit.
Traffic starting to build up. You see right now with the race leaders, the top 2 breaking ahead. But that traffic continues to fall right in front of these leaders. You have Jonathan Thier yet again had cycled in front still. With Thomas Hilbert, Bert Dotson nearly in range to be a lap. Then there's a little pocket from there. Wouldn't be surprised if somebody's used as a pick here. That's going to be the big question. Who's going to end up being in that spot?
And the battle for the lead's kind of heating up. Copeland slowly but surely picked off 100th, 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 100th. And he's made up about 10th, 10th and a half the last couple laps. So he's within 2/10 though of Lloyd Moore, actually right on the back bumper almost. They got some heavy.
Hold on, that's traffic. All trying to choose different lines. One driver in the wall. Thomas Hilbert nearly bounces off the leaders. Jonathan Thier smacked the wall in the YesterYear machine. And Bert Dotson's now at the tail of the lead lap. The leader's able to survive. A little bit of miscommunication. One driver wanted to let everybody go. One slammed the wall while they did that.
Almost had contact. They're coming off of 4. Thier and Copeland about made contact. And then Bert Dotson got a little too close, and I would think he would have wished for with Copeland. That's going to allow Lloyd Moore to build up about an extra 10th or so of a barrier to Copeland. These two have put on, though, a clinic compared to everyone else. 2 seconds to almost the third position. James, contact right in front of the leaders.
Bert Dotson hard into the wall. That was with contact, but Thier were under caution for the second time as 2 lap cars crash in turn 2.
Well, that almost got real ugly. I do apologize. The leaders were already past them, so it wasn't right in front of the leaders, but it was right in front of a lot of lead-packed guys.
It did collect one of the lead lappers. Brian Bianchi clipped the tail end of that incident. No suspension damage, it appears, but still picked up contact. Also, black flag towards Childs just sped into pit road.
As you want to shake things up, we're talking about guys going to be maybe tight on fuel, so this is definitely going to change up that strategy a little. Imagine everyone pits here.
So 6 Machine getting the worst of it there already without a front tire. And as expected, it's a pit party on the racetrack. Every single driver on the lead lap is coming in this time by to make sure they are good to go at the very least or close to it for the fuel tanks. Let's take a commercial break. We can come back, run things down here. Most of the field taking the first pit stop. Others down to 1 tire set remaining after the break.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Makoni.
With the launch of Makoni Entertainment and Makoni Competizone alongside Makoni Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MakoniSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Makoni Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to tonight's coverage. Let's take a look at what caused the caution flag here. As mentioned, 2 lap cars making contact. That time is the contact from behind sends the 6 in the wall, and then calamity.
That was Johnson here in the 69 and Burt Dodson the 6. Dodson came out definitely worse for the wear on that one. He's only got multiple laps down, still in the pits, getting that right front fixed, but losing that right front's not necessarily the end of the road. Johnson Thier lost his, and he's still on track. And actually, at the rate this race is going, still on track, I think, to get a good top 20 finish.
Now, right now, top 20 yet to be at least within 4 laps of the leader to be in that mark. Thier is 20 laps down now, and is still in the race. Michael Downs back in pit road 24 laps down. But here's how the situation's looking. Ryan Pittman is in the race lead. A 19-second pit stop. Todd Liston did the same. A lot of fuel-only stops, it looks like, here to fill the tanks. Isaacs, Hoyle, Lloyd Moore were the top 5. Moore took tires. Back underway. Old rubber at the front. Fresh tires in the middle.
Yeah, that difference in tires going to change up strategy for a lot of guys. Well, Ryan Pittman out front and center started second, didn't need a single lap until now, so his first lap's led for the season for Pittman.
See how long this lasts with the difference in rubber. We've seen the effects starting to build up a little bit for the caution flag period. There is lap traffic mixed in here. Mark Fish is right now in 16. He's the last car, essentially amongst those with a chance to get a lap back. They are currently 3rd on track, and those lead lappers are going to have to fight around the far on the 42 and fast here.
A lot of guys trying to make quick work of the slower traffic, get up to the front. Pittman, though, one of the few drivers that have perfect top 10 attendance, only one top 5, and that they forced back at Martinsville. Hasn't seen Pittman. We got drivers stopped right on track in front of the leaders. I'm not sure who that was. That was almost catastrophic.
That was just about a disaster. That was Torrance Childs, who on debut stopped on the racetrack down the back straightaway. We are still green. That did spook things out a little bit. Todd Liston's lost a lot of ground with that.
I would be very scared too if I went to go make a move and all of a sudden the car parked in the line I was looking at. It looks like Torrance went to go down pit road, maybe get some damage fixed, serve a penalty or something. I believe he did have a penalty. And we talked about how tight it is to get on the pit road, and he just missed it.
And it's still serving a penalty. Now, as much of the field continues to circulate the bottom of the racetrack, top 5 within 1.5 seconds. Up 9 in all of this still is Johnson, but we were talking about Liston. He was the biggest mover before pit stops. He is the biggest mover now. The biggest thing, though, we've touched upon a lot already. Can he maintain long run speed?
That's going to be the name of the game. Still over 120 laps left in this one. A lot of race. Pittman, though, seems to be doing a real good job at keeping Liston at bay. They got Jerry Isaacs in 3rd. You got Rex Hoyle in 4th. Boyd Moore in 5th. So a lot of good fast talented drivers here in the top 5. All trying to go at it, but go at it clean. You see the train effect. Previously, we had 3 drivers pull away and kind of leave, 4th, 5th on back behind. But your top 5 all within a second.
Slowly but surely keeping things tightly packed together. And Pittman's got a problem. Pittman starting to slide up to the race lead. Todd Liston, Jerry Isaacs also coming through. All of a sudden, Pittman started to fall off a cliff.
Pittman really struggling. He's going to lose third as well to Jerry Isaacs. Now he's about to lose fourth to Rex Hoyle. Here comes Lloyd Moore trying to get a piece of the pie as well. He is. Pittman going to go from first to fifth in just a couple of corners.
Just like that, the older rubber starting to go. That's turning down across Pittman now.
Moore around, able to recoup though. He's going to lose a ton.
That was not the smartest of calls in that sequence. We keep going there. So you had Pittman sliding up. It was Lloyd Moore who hit the apron in that. And now you have drivers running each other over back there. Lloyd Moore just about punted somebody.
Now Moore is going to be very anxious to get back through the field. He's one of the fastest drivers we've seen all night. He's inside the top 5 for the first time in a hot minute. Now going to be way on the bubble for the top 10 run.
Todd Liston, now your race leader over Jerry Isaacs. Isaacs the pole sitter and looked very strong in the clean air before. Now, how long does Liston last? He's been able to get sustained leads before in things like late models. This is not a late model though.
I mean, everyone's on a somewhat same strategy. You got a fresher or so set of tires. Everyone, like I said though, somewhat on the same lap-wide count on tires. I don't think it's going to be a huge disadvantage. Did qualify all the way back in 19th, and we've talked about that bubble. It's very hard to get around drivers. Now, that was at the beginning of the race. We put more rubber down on the outside, making it more easier to pass. But still that air bubble with these cars. You get right up to someone, you go make a pass, and you get a little tight on exit. Kind of loosens it up a little bit, too, because you put on the front or on the grip on the front to the rear to the front to the rear really upsets the car. So Jerry Isaacs going to have a handful trying to get back up in the lead and around this.
Exactly on the tires, Isaacs is the quicker of the two. Currently, he's been quicker for the past 5 laps, at least a couple hundredths. Couple hundredths is not enough to make the pass, obviously. Now, you know who is flying on the fresher tires? Dale Copeland, we've seen him leading for a long while. He is up into the 4th position in the 55. He's the first on the new tires. And right now, he is also running even quicker than those in the top 2.
So I think maintaining tires is what's going to be key. You got a couple of guys that are really trying to go fast, make up time, but I don't think it's going to work out in the long run, especially if it goes green for the rest of the race. Looking at well over 100 laps, I don't think it's going to be, but we haven't really seen a whole lot of cautions from the YesterYear Racing League, so I don't think you can count on it.
10 laps away from the halfway point for those just tuning in. YesterYear Racing currently in the midst of a busy season, trying to recreate history for the 1990 modified campaigns with modifieds and the Smart Tour. Right now, your race leader Todd Liston over Isaacs, Hoyle, Copeland, and Bianchi. The interesting about the 41's case, he was spun around with the caution and gained time because he had to stay out on, essentially get the fuel only rather. He was on those who had pit in the first caution sequence. Continue to see just who will be able to live up to this pressure, expecting the flip of the switch soon for the pressures.
Speaking of, I guess, conceding to the pressure, Michael Dowd, we talked about going out and just persevering despite being multiple laps down, has parked for the night, so he's going to finish in the 22nd spot. Bert Dodson's still getting some damage fixed. Johnson's here, though, 20 laps down, still out there chugging. Torrance Charles, we talked about him a little bit ago. He had the incident where he parked right in front of the leaders on the pit entrance. He's still out there 7 laps down. Stephen Hilbert and Thomas Hilbert brothers are 18th and 17th. Stephen 4 laps down. Hilbert 1 lap down. And then Mark Fish is currently the first driver.
Up front. Here we go. Isaacs has the nose. Jerry Isaacs looking to wrap the bottom. Forces a lift. Near contact. Here comes Rex Hoyle as one with the popcorn seat. And contact to the dirt bars. Liston getting loose. A little bit of air as they lean on each other. Hoyle, no place to poke yet as Isaacs clears just about. Liston tries to run high side, can't keep it there. Jerry Isaacs to the race lead.
Quarles definitely got the popcorn seasoning on his fingers, getting ready to bite. Still side by side for the lead. Liston up top. Jerry Isaacs though going clear him coming out of 4. Gets a little bit loose. It's going to allow Liston build momentum, come out of the corner, dive to the inside. Doesn't quite send it. Gets it a little bit loose himself. They're going to be side by side coming off of turn 2.
Liston forced to lift. And here comes the top line brigade. Rex Hoyle misses the top grooving needed. Here comes the fresher tires. Copeland, now he's in the popcorn seat. Isaacs looks to run. All the freshies look to line up and get into the battle.
Yeah, everyone's got Butterfingers trying to get a cheap spot if they can. We saw how much Copeland fell from the lead with a second he got shuffled out of the line. You got a lot of guys here all within a second because they're getting ready to pounce. Jerry Isaacs, though, started up front going lead, looking to come halfway by the next couple laps.
Starting to really fly through portions of this race here tonight. A little bit of wiggle. Lead calms down for the time being. Of note, Bert Dodson is back in the race, 29 laps down. He is in front of the leaders now. After exiting the pit road, James Bray just pit under green. So an issue going on with the 20 machine. 30 machine of Gavin Adams also pit under green. So in other words, a lot of those drivers are starting to pick up attrition. Jerry Isaacs gains himself a buffer now with the traffic as Dodson chooses middle.
Dodson just came back out on track, so gonna have some fresher tires, but gonna have a lot of damage though. Just took the minimum required and gonna let most of the lead pack guys get up in the marbles. I've seen guys wreck themselves doing that, trying to let guys go on by. Thankfully he does not do that, but he's out here just trying to get some spots if he can help.
Yeah. I mean, we just came off a week of official racing at Martinsville Speedway. You know what the most common way for cautions to breed cautions outside of, people making contact there was? Drivers running and doing exactly that where there's no grip as we've already crossed the halfway point.
It's very easy to do. It's very enticing to get up there. There's a ton of room, a ton of grip, or a ton of lines to where it looked like there would be grip, but you can't really see it on the broadcast. We get up close on your screens from the driver's standpoint. There's only about 2.5, maybe 3 lanes right now on the track, and the rest is just marbles. You think, marbles, and it would just lay down rubber to get up there. It was just no grip whatsoever. It's very easy to go around.
So just past the halfway point, continuing to see Liston start to pick up some tempo, actually. Never mind, he picks up a lot of contact to the wall. Todd Liston, yet again, makes the most common mistake of tonight's race, putting the left front tire at the edge of that yellow line and onto the apron.
Yeah, we saw, I believe it was Olga earlier do it and lose a ton of time. And that line slowly moving up. They could dip it about, a quarter to an eighth of a line or to a lane below it and make up a ton of time on corner 8. And they're putting more and more rubber down there, so now they can't really get that close to it and old-ish rubber without it kind of going around without having any warning. So that's some drivers going to see that, make a note, and maybe be a little more cautious playing that game.
On the bright side for Liston, he's still in the top 5. He cycled just in front of second on fresher tires, Brian Johnson. Able to continue at least a solid run. Maybe I should stop talking because he just hit the wall again. Up in front of them, Copeland and Bianchi yet again. This is for third. Copeland looks to be saving a touch. Bianchi seems to be on the prowl. He doesn't want to save yet.
Now Bianchi's on the move, started fourth, currently running fourth. Oh, he wants a podium. He's hungry for a podium. So try and get around Copeland. It's easier too to save tires if you can get around Copeland here and then start to save the tires, because Copeland's kind of on that preserving strategy himself, playing a heavy game of defense. That's going to put Bianchi in the same spot Copeland is right now, and you're able to play better defense.
Nothing is though, they're running near dead even in terms of their lines here. We've seen the diamond line seem to do well on corner exit. We've seen drivers be able to pressurize mistakes. What would you add in terms of ways to make some moves work outside of, have a lap car fall from the sky?
Yeah, definitely lap car is a good way to make a cheap move, but you can't really expect it every single time. Maybe just try to pressure the guy in a mistake, but we're talking about Brian Bianchi, Dale Copeland. These two are only separated by 1 point. They're in third and fourth with Dale Copeland coming in over Bianchi. So, these two have been almost perfect all season long. They finished every single lap except for one that goes to Copeland, that 349 out of 350. So these two, they're more about finishing races. I don't think they're going to try to press each other into a mistake, especially not into a race into a mistake. They're thinking long term here. They're going to try to do it clean. But I don't expect to see Bianchi use the chrome horns, but it's definitely a good way to make a pass. You know, building up a momentum, going down the straightaway, and closing up that gap, building that or breaking that bubble, and then using the front bumper a little bit, coming into the corner, upset them. And with these cars, it's very easy to do, but it's also very easy to end somebody's race up.
Isaacs, though, meanwhile, continues to live up to the pressure, at least up at the front right now. Talked a little bit about him. He is very solid whenever he leads. We've seen that so far tonight. He's been able to handle the pressure of Hoyo, but also Coppa Bianchi here. Isaacs might have a chance to win from the pole, but in a very different way, obviously.
Well, we've had Tom Ogle take the pole and win from pole both for the first two races here. Isaac, on the hand, hasn't had the same luck. He hasn't even had a top 10 at all this season. So far, though, coming into favor for this one. Highlight of the season was that 11th place finish at Martinsville, all the way back in week 1 DNF last week at Hickory, I believe. So, a good turnaround for him for sure.
Isaac's one of those we talked about for the very series. He's from the OBRL branch of the invitees. Also has experience in TKC in the go-kart scene. So the top 4 rides still keeping an eye on these drivers in the front of the field. Running out of laps to try and get the job done is the mindset here. Todd Liston is fading away though, because Todd Liston keeps on making self-mistakes. He hit the wall on his own down the middle of the back straightaway, and now he's up for grabs by 2 for 1.
You want to talk about someone that's also fading real fast, not to interrupt the JP, but Ryan Pittman's about to go a lap down. Currently the last driver on the lead lap, running in 13. So in just 40 laps, he has lost basically every single spot. And once you go a lap down, we've talked about it, it's almost a deficit as far as winning the race.
Not Liston able to recover, but yeah, that is a very one-in-the-world kind of mindset here, because Pittman was running fine, and then all of a sudden it's like the car just died.
I don't know if something changed. He just can't get to the track. He seems he's having a lot of trouble getting the car to stabilize on entry and exit, and it's really hurting his corner speed compared to everyone else. We also have had another DNF tonight. James Bray is going to finish 10, 11 laps down.
Caution.
He's going to save Pittman.
And the caution reason is going to be an interesting one. I believe it was Rory Collins in the 62. Now, remember, if you go at Richmond, 45 degrees or more through a corner on the racing surface, that can trigger the caution flag. He rode the apron into turn 1 and 2, slid 45 degrees, caution flag. We'll see that in a moment. But that is a saving grace for a few drivers and a strategy Tetris cube for a couple others, or Rubik's Cubes, whatever you like to enjoy.
It's going to save Collins, too, I believe, from going a lap down. He was going to be next in line or there shortly after Pittman. So a lot of guys getting saved by this. So 13 drivers still on the lead lap. For reference, 8, I believe. It's 8 or 9 were finishing on the lead lap. There's that caution right there. Really no need for it. Just iRacing, thought it'd be a good one. Actually, we had contact under pit road. Roy Collins of Richmond for the caution. Got a little help getting into his pit stop from Mark Fish.
So we've had issues in pit road. Might need to take another look here, because the pit speed limit is 40 miles an hour. Stephen Hilbert ran the pit road at 35 miles an hour. And on top of people needing to pit, people not even knowing the speed limit and missing their box despite not knowing the speed limit.
I'm not really sure what the thought process was on that one, but it definitely shakes things up. Mark Fish, currently our first driver, 1 lap down. We talked about it time and time again. No wave around, no lucky dogs. Mark Fish will stay a lap down. He joins Thomas Hilbert as the only drivers being 1 lap down. We talked about it, going a lap down necessarily doesn't mean your race is over. It just means your chance of winning the race are pretty much slim to none, but you still want to go out there and finish. We talked about already, we've had guys that had one bad week at Martinsville or Hickory and had a great run. They're sitting top 5 in points right now. So we're only 3 races into the season so far. I think every single point is going to matter coming down to the end of it. Especially if you look at iRacing nowadays, it's all filled with a chase format or playoff format. We don't have anything like that here, JP. It's a straight up point.
Exactly. We've seen a lot of interesting racing so far as a result of some of these plays. Of note, Thomas Ogle just topped off here. We talked about the fuel limits around 90, as you were saying. Some trying to make sure they are good to go at the back. Everyone else stays on here. Hoyle took fuel only. Bianchi fuel. Liston a 20-second stop. Copeland 24. Isaacs went 27 seconds in the box, but also struggled to get into the stall. Waldo, Leiden, Lloyd Moore, Johnson, and Pearson, your top 10 here. This race has a lot of chance for ramification for the championship, because here's the thing about the Ogle part of things. He is still trying to get the car fixed, it seems, with how long he just spent trying to floor the engine to get out of the box. So some drivers are getting repairs under the caution here too.
Yeah, cautions breed cautions. We're going to see if this kind of sets up, though with the single file restart format, we haven't seen that come too frequently, but Rex Hoyle up front and center, also for his first top 10 of the season, so he's going to be hungry for it, I'm sure.
Lights are out on top of the iRacing pace truck. It's been one of the more competitive races so far this season. Hoyle, Bianchi, Liston, Copeland, Isaacs, your top 5. Multiple different contenders so far this evening. We've had lead changes galore. 6 different leaders. We're backing our way with a new leader, and Hoyle looking to control the tempo. The only driver not yet to lead in the top 5 is the one in second. Bianchi wants it. Bianchi's got to run, forced to check up again.
Going to settle Bianchi in second for now, but he's right on the back bumper. Rex Hoyle trying to get the lead coming off of turn 4. Can't quite get there. Only a couple opportunities to really present itself per lap. Talked about, you got to build a good momentum run going in the corner. You can't just seize the opportunity. And I want to propose myself, I say go for it. But you got to kind of set yourself up lap after lap after lap, and just kind of pressure Rex Hoyle into making a mistake if you can.
Coming up to 75 to go next time by at the flag stand. Right now, Bianchi looking to provide the pressure. Liston still in the top 3. Fresher tires, but 4 fish on backish. Getting confirmation fully on that, but here's the thing. Any caution after this can cause the strategy rubrics cube. Strategy worksheet, let's just go with the easy phrasing on that, to, have a lot of scribbles on it.
For sure. You got Bianchi, though, trying to scribble his way into the lead. Hoyle running a bit of a different line, running a lot lower than we've seen guys run before the caution. Most guys are running back that middle groove. Hoyle is getting right on that yellow line, and while it seems to be fast, it's definitely treacherous.
Did anybody provide the chance to get a run yet? We've seen, though, pressurize the leader. You can make the pass. Rex Hoyle seems to be holding firmly despite said pressure so far. We've had one driver with a bit of slopes again. More wall contact, James Watto. Everybody else fine. Bianchi seemed to struggle, nearly hits the wall. Liston nearly hit the wall again.
This can't seem to get himself in the wall out of that date. Hoyle almost right rear, does his right rear into the wall. That's going to allow Bianchi an opportunity. Pressure's making a mistake, and exactly is what Hoyle did, make a mistake. Bianchi not really able to capitalize off it, closed up to him, but not able to make a move for the lead yet. But their top 3 all under a blanket. Hoyle, Bianchi, and Liston.
Rex Hoyle, on top of having experience in OBRL, also has experience in series like the East Coast Racing Series. Here's the thing. You know what he races in that series, Braden? Modifieds.
Say, modifieds are definitely a rare breed on the iRacing platform. Not a whole lot of guys like them, but they do like and love them. And they offer two different kinds out of the Wheon modified here, which is what we're seeing based off the real life Wheon 4 modified, and of the SK modified, which is the, I believe, a thinner tire, not as much horsepower. Definitely a heavier and a slower top speed. I don't think anyone's going to try and do a top speed run in the modified anytime soon.
And on top of that, you talk about the experience levels in some of these drivers. Did you keep an eye on that battle for second? Should be worth noting, Rex Hoyle is amongst those from the sim community as far back as 2007, but then our 2003. How do we know that? Thankful to the Bull Ring because they kept it on every single modified series champion for 10 years on that platform. He was a champion in multiple different series as far back as last decade and a half.
That's a lot of seat time.
Yeah, that's about 20 years worth.
That is a ton of experience, a ton of seat time. So definitely putting it to the works. Nice. Liston gonna get a little loose off of turn 4. Played a little, or went a little too close to the sun, that yellow line. It seems very inviting, it seems very fast and getting a better drive off, but it's going to upset him. Then again, he might walk up in a wall, who knows with Liston. He's been in that wall quite a bit tonight, so far able to keep it going.
Liston right now trying to keep his car out of the wall, keep it from being burnt up in the sun, keep it from becoming a part of an eclipse of contact from another car that sends him into the fires of the sun. Liston still playing the defense. The rest of the field cycles to the back, but Jerry Isaacs, we've seen him wait patiently at times. We're running out of patience time.
Yeah, time definitely not your friend right now, but trying to step a run. Only about 64-ish laps to go. My maps are correctly. Liston getting loose one more time. I don't know how he's doing it every single lap. I think it's going to bite him more than it has all night as he's trying to pick up every single ounce of grip he can on track. I think it's definitely going to overcorrect or something that we saw earlier with Burt Dodson. Liston seems to be fast. He's just playing it on the edge of control.
Well, Weeble wobbles. Jerry Isaacs just about scrubbed the wall, trying to line up the straight line. Now, the championship conversation. Remember, it is the Latford system for this series. Essentially, the series point system that was seen for NASCAR in the 70s all the way up to the early 2000s. Well, Thomas Ogle started off very strong in this series so far, Braden. He is 13th. With how things are going, he's going to lose the points lead with how he's been running so far tonight.
He's not looking at great points, not at all. I'll go ahead and look at the point system here in a second, figure out exactly how much he's going to lose. But Lloyd Moore, awesome, not having a great night. He was right behind him. He's in 9th. Dale Copeland's looking to profit big time in that 5th spot. Same with Bianchi, who's in 2nd. Bianchi was only 1 point off of Copeland and 5 points off of Lloyd Moore.
Yeah, put it this way. Consistency wins championships. You don't want to end up being, to give video game comparisons, the driver who loses the championship because they didn't get 31 top 5s instead of 32 on the championship. Here's Bianchi attack Todd Liston all of a sudden. He's been all over the place, and now all of a sudden Bianchi's fallen off, and now Liston wants to take advantage.
I don't know how Liston's modified the straight. As much as he's hit the wall tonight, he might have been in just the right way, give him a little bit of extra speed. And so far, he's definitely taken. Damn, this guy, did you see how loose he is? Making contact with Bianchi. Going Bianchi up the track. That's going to allow more guys and Jerry Isaac still help to get in line, maybe put their hand in the cookie pot. No one takes a bite yet.
Near disaster yet again. Still side by side. Everybody using up the nerf bars. Rex Hoyle already has broken the draft from everybody. Liston up to 2nd again. And they're not done yet. Bianchi and contact. They stack up. Liston slides. Isaacs passes. And Somehow,
Copeland in the back. No, James
never mind.
He's going to spin off a turn 4. No caution yet. But he's going to lose a ton of time and a ton of spots if he can't get it going. Still no caution. He had contact and help from Copeland. Everyone's stacked up. Saw it there under screen. And it's kind of accordion effect. Copeland comes down the track trying to find a hole. Profit off that, and Waldo had nowhere to go except for the left rear of Copeland because Copeland came down, and this is going to hurt Waldo big time. He's going to go a lap down maybe. Finally able to get it going, no cost.
Oh, they're not done yet, though. Lots of traffic now in front of the 2x2 building up. Still side by side back there with some of the drifty drifts. Todd Liston alongside Copeland. Lap traffic top side. That's James Waldo, who was the driver who spun out, already has lost a lap. And Waldo doesn't seem to be in the business of letting anybody go after what just happened.
No, it's go time for him. He's ran top 10 his entire. Gonna go a lap down. If he can get up front, if he has the pace to get up to Rex Hoyle, he can get his lap back 100%, but it's about half a straightaway back now.
Everyone getting to the inside, though, at the very least. Waldo allowing that chance just the hard way. Nearly stepping each other, though. Liston yet again bobbles. Copeland clears. It's worth being said the leader's up 2 seconds, and now more lap traffic is nearly hitting the leaders. All of a sudden, it's boxing glove time at the action track.
Definitely getting the gloves. Oh, we're going to go 3 wide with Waldo. Waldo, Brooke Dodson, and Lloyd Moore all going 3 wide. All 3 on their own different laps, so risking it all for nothing, but putting on a good show for sure.
Leads 1.8 seconds. Jerry Isaacs is now set free, though. He's got clean air. True test now underway for Isaacs. He is gaining through the corners, but losing a touch bit of ground down the front straightaway. This past sentence, he's gained a 10th. It's going to take a while. He might get there within about 30 laps to go.
That time is winding down for the building. Pretty good bubble. Isaacs got a handful of Bianchi trying to get that second spot from Isaacs. These two have kind of pulled away. They got Brian Johnson and Copeland put on their own battle with Liston. Top 10 is definitely most competitive it's been all night outside of Rex Hoyle or leader. We'll see if he's just burning his stuff up, but with everyone else basically in a battle of their own sorts, I think he's sitting pretty comfortable right now.
Field trying to chip back down the gap. For now, though, if you go just behind this, look at that. It's Brian Johnson now high side. 55, Copeland trying to protect the bottom. Todd Liston yet again on another set to the inside groove.
Brian Johnson, that 5th spot, we haven't talked about him all night, really, or all season. 18th a couple weeks ago at Martinsville, and looking to get his first top 10 run of the season. Go even maybe get a top 5 at podium if he's lucky.
Your contacts yet again, though.
He's running higher up on the track. Anyway.
Liston nearly makes contact with the nerf bar yet again. 3 wide. Back to 2 wide and 3 wide yet again. Lloyd Moore saying, you know what, I want to go. The apron says, you know what, that's not a racing line.
Catch him outside. How about that? He's going to fade back, though. Let these guys duke it on out. Todd Liston, Dale Copeland, all these guys going to get single file. Johnson, though, taking the outside of Liston. Try and make up some ground. I don't think these guys are really worried about fuel or tires. They're duking out like it's the last lap. We still got almost 50 laps to go.
46 to be precise. That time by the stripe. Absolute craziness breaking out in these later stages. Todd Liston continues to fight every single spot like it is first spot. We talked about the fall off. It's hitting him hard and it's hitting him fast.
And that 21-8 that set the real life pole time here in 1990. That time doesn't look too bad right about now, JP, does?
Yeah, no, it's still half a second off the pace they're running right now, but it's still a solid pace. For reference. Yeah. Well, 2x2, a couple rows deep in some spots now starting to build up. Johnson falls back. Ryan Pittman is in that grouping that you see in the backdrop too. Munsell's trying to recover. Still side by side there, but there's Pittman. Remember, he was in a very bad spot pre-caution. He's in an okay spot now. He's in 8th.
I think he'd definitely take a top 10 run, considering the way it was going to go. Right behind him, he's got Jeffrey Light on the kind of closing the gap a little bit. It kind of depends on the lap, and he's dealing with James Wada, who talked about had that spin, went a lap down. So Wada, I'm sure, would love to get a top 10 run, rebound a little bit, but he's going to need a lot of help from the rest of the field. The battle for 10th was heating up between Rory Collins making his debut tonight and Bruce Pearson, driver we haven't really talked about tonight, in the number 22 Mission 22 machine. So he's having a pretty solid run so far.
Yeah, usually in bootleg racing action, he's able to at least get into the top 10 in these types of races. He's currently holding on to the 10th position, as you said. But with 40 to go at the stripe, there is one thing that keeps going to mind here. Nobody has chipped the gap down to the 50. As a matter of fact, it is still 1.7 seconds. Traffic is ahead, yeah, but nothing has changed outside of half a tenth to the 50.
No, it's been the Rex Horowitz lap traffic really hasn't changed a whole lot of that. He's about to catch a pack of 3 cars, Torrance Child, Stephen Hilbert, and Thomas Hilbert. Those two are brothers. Everyone kind of all on their own separate laps. None of them are on the lead lap, so I don't expect them to put up much of a fight. It'd be kind of odd to see if they did, so they should go and let Rex Royal by fairly quickly. There's really no one in front of them for a hot minute.
It's been a very good race for him. He's now led the most laps so far tonight. Top 5 run. Already quickly lapping someone within the blink of an eye. The interesting thing about when it comes to him, we talked about the experience in other sims, in the predecessor to iRacing. They didn't even put him outside of in the Dark Horses sheet as someone they expected in the projected top 10. Well, I don't think ChatGPT knows about NR 2003.
Definitely not. So I think that's one thing I love about the AI is when they put in so many statistics, so many different databases, and they pull data from any source they can find, but it's still going to be that one outlier. Contact on the front straightaway. I'm not sure who that was with. I believe it was Stephen Hilbert. We talked about that lap traffic. It was Hilbert.
We stay green.
Maybe
The 52.
It was Hilbert and Copeland made contact. Dale Copeland running in the 3rd spot, going to lose a ton of time. That was Brian Bianchi and Brian Johnson to make up some time. Lloyd Moore as well. That got real crazy real quick, though. Jerry Isaacs lost about 2 or 3 tenths to Rex Hoyle dealing without that traffic himself. But kind of, you're Rex Hoyle. You're on cruise control for now. Actually almost having contact with lap traffic with Thomas Hilbert. So the brothers Steven and Thomas not having a great couple lap sequence here.
A lot of chippiness starting to build up in the pack. Still keeping an eye on the front runners. You mentioned Copeland losing a ton of ground with that. No damage to the nerf bore. But Bianchi now has a spinning chance. Lloyd Moore the same to try and do something here. And you have some lap traffic that is just in front soon. They've also had Jerry Isaacs fall into the lap all of a sudden, so there's that as well. Isaacs has fallen off to the 6s. In fact, he has fallen off a cliff at the wrong time. He is 2 tenths off all of a sudden.
Yeah, dealing with that lap traffic, you're going to burn up a ton of your rubber and lose a ton of grip if you don't do it smartly. And sometimes it's smart for that time an award, but if you don't do it smart, and none of it can be your fault. Sometimes you're just forced to take a guy 3 or 4 wide and get around as quick as possible or lose a ton of time or spot. You got Dale Copeland literally right on his back bumper. He's got a ton of guys right behind him too, trying to make up time and make up spots. So don't really blame him for trying to get through that traffic. He's content with a 2nd place. He doesn't want to fade back though to that 6th or 7th.
Copeland wants 2nd though. He's to the inside. Despite the contact earlier, seems very unfazed. Isaacs starting to really burn up his stuff here. And yet again, the 55, one of the more consistent drivers outside of Ogle, right into the conversation for 2nd step of the podium. 3rd step, Bianchi wants to rip that back away, Camp for now.
So everyone duking it out low. haven't had a caution in a hot minute. Now it's definitely a good time to bring one out, reset the field if they can help.
Don't
So
jinx it.
So far, though, the top 12 guys are running a pretty clean race, all on the lead lap. Rex Horn continues to lap the field. I think the top 12 should be safe unless something happens. Bruce Pearson, currently last driver on the lead lap, coming in about 9-10 seconds off of Horn.
There it is right there. Bianchi knows he's a bit quicker right now. Smells the blood in the water, as the saying goes. You know who sees that too? Lloyd Moore. He sniffs the inside wall instead, and this could be trouble. He is thrown ways around on the apron if he turns it around, and he's run at the caution. Lloyd Moore does do what was possible. Turn back around on the racing surface, and that brings out the yellow.
So just put it in reverse, Terry, and see what he could have done, but that is going to change everything. I don't want to say commentator's curse, JP.
You called a caution.
25 seconds before that.
You legitimately called for a caution.
I don't want to say commentator's curse, JP, but that was a tough.
And now it gets wild. Isaac stays out. Everybody else in the top 8 is in. Let's take a break. 25 laps to go here at Makoni Entertainment. We'll run this down as the field sorts themselves out with only one driver saying, let's stay out late.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Makoni.
With the launch of Makoni Entertainment and Makoni Competizone alongside Makoni Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MakoniSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Makoni Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Makoni Entertainment, where Jerry Isaacs rolls the dice and tries to stay out. Nobody else had any tire sets available, but a lot of drivers did, at the very least, make adjustments or take fuel during the caution sequence here. So the caution comes out because of Lloyd Moore spinning around the backstretch and then turning around on said backstretch. You got to feel for Hoyle. He'll be starting third, and because we're not within 10 to go, there are a lot of cars that Isaacs can use as buffers.
And not just that. So you mentioned no one had no one had tire sets remaining. No one in the top 9 did. You gotta go back a couple spots. Thomas Ogle, Lloyd Moore, who brought out the caution, and Brian Johnson all took tires at last time by. So I brought it up, earlier in the race when some guys pitted very early. I think you want to save a set for that 10, 15, 20 to go caution. I think this is going to put Thomas Ogle, Lloyd Moore, and Brian Johnson in perfect real estate here to maybe pick up lost spot.
Isaacs is the leader. Then it's lap traffic of Childs, Adams, Hilbert. Rory Cousins took 4 seconds of fuel to get the second. They're stacking up already. Hoyle up to second. Now Hilbert nearly turns himself across the leaders. Now Hilbert is putting the 50 in the wall. Hilbert wrecks one of the leaders. They're 3-4 wide down the back straightaway. Hilbert still getting ran over. And all of a sudden, Rory Cousins is within 2 seconds of the leader.
And Rory doing a real good job to work the stop traffic, try and make up some lost time. Bianchi, though, going still second for him across the line. Jerry Isaacs, Bianchi, Rory Collins, your top three. Collins on the not real, I don't know if it's a risky strat, but came down to a splashing gun on field. He's going to try to go the distance. Not to watch those fresh tires, too, work their way through the field. Thomas Ogle already inside the top 5 of them.
He's on the recovery drive. This is exactly what he needed. Pittman inside of Rory Collins, rather. He's going to say, see you later. Now to Todd Liston as well. Now, here's the thing. Lap traffic, that's the last of the leader. Childs nearly to the wall. Now it gets interesting. Isaacs was falling off hard before the caution. He's up by 1.6 seconds with 18 laps to go. Can anybody close up the gap and then do the pass with how Isaacs was struggling?
Pittman's definitely got the momentum, same with Todd Liston and Rory Collins, but I think having that huge gap of lap cars, and it takes a handful of laps to get your cars up to temperature here, and Jerry, all he had to do was kind of cool us down a little bit, and he's actually turning very competitive times compared to the
here
guys
we go.
right
Rex Hoyle on the wall. More drivers wrecked down the back straightaway. No caution yet. Slow him down the back stretch. Now the comes out. Childs, Hilbert, and
Ogle's
more
hard on the wall.
jump in.
Tommy lost Thomas Ogle's right front tire. That's kind of where that all started with Rex Hoyle. Thomas Ogle was looking to get the top 5 there and came down for fresh tires, and that's going into his 9. Hard point to look for.
That is a huge changer in the early complexion of the season. His recovery drive got to 7th. Now he's got a broken tire, which is 16 laps to go. Let's take a look at what happened here. Pandemonium, it was the 50 and the 13 indeed hooking together. That's Thomas Ogle high side. Remember, Rex Hoyle had been pushed up to the back by a lap car, and now he gets pushed into the wall with the 13.
I think it's just the open fender cars are that they have Nerf bars there to kind of make it hard to have contact wheel to wheel, but sometimes, you know, even a squirrel will find a nut. That's not quite the same, but something like that. The left front of Thomas Ogle made perfect contact, went right between the Nerf bars of the right rear of Rex Hoyle, and just kind of turned him sharp right up the track. Nothing you can really do. Like super glue.
That's become a race control term, actually, on iRacing. It's become that common, the gluing, they call it. But now, 15 to go at the stripe. Isaac's buffer is gone. Every lap car got passed by your front runners.
Now you're going to have to try and time this restart as perfect as you can and hope these guys just race and will living crap out of each other here, bumper to bumper, maybe tear some stuff up, and hopefully brings it home in one piece, but we've seen these guys really duke it out. Going back to the real-life Richmond 200 here in 1990, there was a move and a wreck within the final laps. Let me pull up here. I had it and I lost it. But the winner took the lead late in the race, just like Jerry Isaac.
Now, as the field tries to keep themselves settled in, they look to try and see how this goes. Your top 5, in fact, all your top drivers up to 8th were able to pass by lap cars. So, reminder that the next race, part of a busy April, will be after a week break. It's North Wilkesboro up next. Back to the past in the realistic sense of we're going to North Wilkesboro, 1987 version on the platform.
Yeah, back when it was, you know, actually open and actually competing, you know, kind of weekly or regional stuff, and they had, you know, the national series come in. So that's definitely a throwback and be real cool for this series because that's going back to almost like the way the track was back in, you know, the 1987, 1990. So it's going to be as close to a realistic scan, I think, as we get here. So I do have the full details on that. We talked about Rick Fuller winning this race back in 1990. Took the lead on lap 188. Started 10th in a 31-car field. So very late in the race, same as Jerry Isaacs here, and actually tangled with second place and then Tony Hirschman 6 laps from the finish. So we might be repeating history here.
Let's find out if that goes lockstep with the history books, or if the history books get lit on fire and replaced by a different book that has an iRacing logo on it.
The Library of Alexandria Racing.
Huh?
The Library of Alexandria, Alexandria, the library that got burnt down.
That is a very bad pun, but I can see where
it was great. I thought it was great, JP. They're letting me down.
That pun might fly in the year 500. Green flag is out, Jerry Isaacs. With the later launches, we're back to racing. Can Isaacs hold off the crowd? Started on the pole in this race. Now it's Bianchi looking to find a way up front. Recovery from Pittman as well. He's up to third. Here's the lead, the dive. Bianchi sends it hard to the inside. To the race lead goes to 41 for the first time all day.
I don't know how they kept it straight there. Bianchi sent it, almost contact for second with Pittman. Speaking of Pittman, he was about to go a lap down 30, 40 laps ago. Nice rebound for him. Now he's trying to chase down Brian Bianchi for the lead. Bianchi getting real loose, so off the turn 2, going to lose a ton of time.
Now, can anyone get to Bianchi to make a pass back? Isaacs falls through the field. 10 laps to go. The 41 looks to set sail. It's already set up in the tuxedo on the hood. Can he find his way to get his car to victory lane to look special there?
Pittman, though, in that second spot, trying to reel in Bianchi, running right in the tire tracks, able to break the bump. Going using chrome horns, I imagine, if he can get there that way. Think about dive bomb, thinks better of, but he's going to close up a ton of time. Todd Liston, we talked about him running top 5 almost all night and into the wall half the time. He's going to settle for that third spot, putting himself in that catbird.
Now Bianchi trying to play that second line. Not allowing too many chances to get a diamond run down, it seems. This time, though, a lot more flatter. Seems to be trying to play different lines almost, Braden, to try and force Pittman to have a hard time to choose.
Yeah, running that different line, changing things up every corner makes it hard on Pittman to try to get a run and build momentum. Some too of these cars, these have such tall bridges on them, they're very hard to kind of gauge the car in front of you versus a normal stock car. So running on the iRacing cockpit here, you can't adjust a whole lot in that, so it's hard to kind of get, like I was saying, gauge where that car is in front of you. So Pittman's kind of have to pick and choose and hope for the best.
6 to go. Top 3 have broken away. It's down to Bianchi, Pittman, enlisted. Next lap, point no return here at Richmond with the lap cars. Next leg ends the race, coming a high 5. Barney this time. Liston losing a bit of ground. Pittman still can't get the diamond to work. He needs that to close if he wants a shot.
So far, it's Pittman and Bianchi. These two settling in, duking out. They're pulling a little bit away from Liston, and Jerry Isaacs in that 4th spot. I don't think he's going to really have anything for these guys beyond that older rubber, but so far it's 3-ish, maybe 2-car breakaway between Pittman and Bianchi.
Now there goes Pittman. He's showing the nose. 4 to go to the nerve bar. Had to lift. Pittman gave him a break. Does that happen again? That's the question. Liston to the wall. Pittman looking for another setup.
Bianchi trying to use all 612 horsepower of this modified, try and get around the track as quick as he can. Pittman, though, right in the tire tracks, thinks about going inside, thinks better of it once again. Not able to set up a move. Bianchi getting a little squirrely on exit. That's going to allow Pittman to close right up, not able to get side by side.
Now we're showing the nose. 2 laps to go. Down to the final, 1.5 miles from Richmond. The Richmond 200 comes down to this. Bianchi trying to hug the bottom. Pittman looking for a run. Still can't get the run. He's at the wall. Pittman hits the wall. That might be it there.
I think it's going to seal the deal for Bianchi. Pittman, though, getting hard on the wall, tries to dive in the corner a little bit, get the run off before he can't get nothing. Going to be over 3/10 at the line for Bianchi. He's got less than half an hour to get.
White flag out, final time around here on Maconie Entertainment. Pittman falling off from the contact. Side by side, entering the final corner for second. Bianchi holds off in turn 4. Brian Bianchi becomes a winner in YesterYear. Second spot, Pittman. Liston finishes third.
Pittman by inches. Liston got a little loose there on the exit 4, kind of had to burp the throttle. Could have easily made contact though going into 3, so that's in some good hard short track racing there between those guys.
It's Brian Bianchi who becomes the first different winner of the season. And as mentioned, you look towards the engine. His sponsor for this car, for 505 Motorsports, just so happens to be wearing a tuxedo. He's already well dressed for victory lane. He gets to celebrate from it tonight.
Burn it down 15 inches of rubber all the way around 15 inches to burn. 600 plus horsepower these bad boys make, so we're going to see him definitely put some smoke on for these fans. Good point night too. Bianchi came into the night. We talked about 4th in points. You got to look at the people in front of him. Dale Copeland, he finishes 8th. Lloyd Moore, he finishes way down the list. I'm not even sure where Lloyd at 10th. And then Thomas Olger, the points leader, DNF tonight. He's going to finish officially 17th after it's all said and done. So very good points night for Bianchi. Might very well come out tonight with the points lead.
Lot to talk about. Let's take a quick step aside. Post-race coverage after this. You're watching Maconie Entertainment.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconie.
With the launch of Maconie Entertainment and Maconie Competizone alongside Maconie Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconieSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconie Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Maconie Entertainment for post-race coverage of YesterYear as the Richmond 200 ends up in one of the thrower ones you'll see of this year. One of the throwers, should say. Brian Bianchi finishes with the win over Ryan Pittman. Todd Liston rounds out the top 3. We'll be standing by with them in just a moment. Jerry Isaacs finished in 4th with Rory Collins in the top 5. Bruce Pearson finished in 6th. He was 10th for the final restart. Rex Hoyle recovered 7th after contact. Dale Copeland finishes 8th. Leiden in 9th, and it's Lloyd Moore, your top 10.
That Brian Johnson going to be the last driver on to lead that. We talked about perseverance being a huge deal in this race, just like it was in 1990. On driver low to, like I said, the last driver to finish on the lead lap. James Waldo overcomes a lot of adversity himself, coming out 4th to finish 12th. Mark Fish in 13th. Those 2 drivers are 1 lap down. Gavin Adams and Thomas Hilbert going to be 3 laps down in 14th and 15th. Steven joins his brother Thomas right behind him in 16th, 9 down. Thomas Ogle came in tonight, your points leader, led 89% of the laps this season, doesn't lead a single lap, comes home in 17th, 16 laps down. Jonathan Thier, 20 laps down in 18th. Torrance Childs, 26 down in 19th. Burt Dodson around your top 20. And then James Bray, Michael Dowd, Donnie Moore, and Alan Wanamaker all do not finish.
That's look top to bottom at your race results here tonight. Let's take the opportunity to speak with your top three. Those drivers standing on by. Let's first talk with Brian Bianchi. He becomes the first different winner, rather, for the season. Brian, first of all, how are you feeling about the win tonight?
Oh, this feels good. Man, that was that's a long race, I'll tell you.
So talk us through that battle for the race win. We've seen the caution start to build up. Joey Isaac stays out, lots of traffic, and then what's going through your mind from there?
Yeah, we weren't really using the left sides up, so I just figured I'd take rights, see what happened. With the single file restarts and the lap cars in the way, you just didn't know what was going to happen. They all kind of washed up high. I was able to go down low. I think that was a little luck there, but then we got that second caution, and man, that was a battle.
You've been having a good season overall. Before tonight, a top 3 run at the Paperclip, 2 top 10s. How are you feeling now that you've built a lot of sustained momentum for the championship early going, and in turn, we're in the conversation for the championship early?
Yeah, it feels good. Feels good to be in the hunt. We needed to beat Ogle tonight. So I don't know what happened to him, if he had a wreck or something, but we needed to beat him, and it feels good.
Anyone you want to thank for the run tonight?
As always, Culpeper's Bakery and Cafe. Rex Hoyle, my teammate, he always helps me get ready for these things, and he does all our paints. Colony Tire, Christina's Custom Cuts, and Zeno's Luxury Jackets. You know, without these guys, we couldn't do this.
Congratulations once again on the victory tonight.
Say that again.
Congratulations on the win.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Brian Bianchi picks up the win tonight. Second spot now standing by. Ryan Pittman is with Braden Laster.
Pittman started outside the front row tonight, had an up and down race, and at one point you restarted from the lead, and just a couple laps later, they're the last car on the lead lap at huge risk of going a lap down, and you turned it all around with one caution. You bring it home at second tonight, leading 11 laps, talk us through the race.
Yeah, I kind of misjudged tire wear a little bit there. The first caution, about 20 laps in, I pitted. Kind of went off the tire wear from there, and then the second time it came out, I wanted to try to stay out and see how that went. That wasn't the plan, or that wasn't the move I should have made. Almost like you said, I almost went a lap down. I got to stop, find a ways to end up in the back. This is like twice that I've been that far back and had to try to figure out a way to get back to the front, but we made it work nevertheless. For sure, got to give a shout out to Brian and Todd that was behind me. Todd was beating my back door. I had just as much time looking out the rear mirror as I did the forward. So that was a great race. Shout out to them. Kept it clean. Had fun.
That is their best finish of the season at the P4 at Martinsville. Finally getting that first podium. One of only a couple drivers that have dual top 10s. Talk us through what perseverance really means here in the YesterYear Racing League, and how every point throughout the whole season is going to matter.
Oh yeah, for sure. I hadn't taken a look at the points, for a while. I know that Ogle had troubles today. Not sure what happened. Hopefully he's able to get it rectified or whatever happened to him. But yeah, points are going to be important. Just trying to keep your car together, make it through the field. I usually feel pretty comfortable actually trying to figure out how to set up a pass and getting by people cleanly. So I kind of figured that so long as we kept all 4 tires on it, we'd have a shot towards the end.
For sure. Anybody you want to thank en route to your second place finish here tonight?
Well, as I said before, everybody in the league. I mean, honestly, this is a pretty large car count for these kind of tracks and tour mods. So for everybody to kind of keep each other, in line and have as good a racing as we can, you can't thank these guys enough. Once again, Todd and Brian for the great racing there up front, and McConey for the stream, as well as the 2 broadcasters tonight. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you. And once again, congratulations on your second place run here.
Thank you, buddy.
Once again, that second spot tonight, Ryan Pittman. Todd Liston ends up with the top 3 from 19th starting spot here tonight. Todd, first things first, how was the car with how it was looking? It was like a slip and slide. Let's try this different. Now we can hear you, Todd.
Sorry about that. The car is great. I always love racing modifieds, and being slick isn't isn't anything that I don't like. I mean, once you have to start babying the throttle and it really starts showing through, you know, what you can do with a race car. I think it was real fun out there. There was a lot of interesting aspects of strategy that I really wasn't even planning on when I came into it. But by about mid-race, it was a real interesting race.
Yeah, that's the understatement when it comes to all this. What was the mindset with everyone going, tires, no tires? Let's try and stay out on, I don't know how old lap tires. And all of that, mind you, we know from your track record in BRL that we've seen you struggle in the tire race, save races before.
Well, the good thing about this series is I actually get a set of tires every once in a while, so that lets me plan it out a little bit. I do like pit strategy and things like that, especially with fueling up in these cars. It takes longer to fuel the car than it does to change 2 tires. So it often comes down to you can gain a lot of track position, especially with the way that the lap cars stay staggered in the built lineup and everything like that. You can really build up with that strategy on pit road.
So the next race is North Wilkesboro. How do you feel about the racetrack on a hillside?
Well, North Wilkesboro's always been pretty kind to me. This league's been a real pleasure. I really want to thank Alan for putting it on. I want to thank everybody who's racing in it because every race I've had so far has been awesome. You guys do a great job on the broadcast, and I'm really looking forward to the next race in North Wilkesboro.
Congratulations once again on the run tonight, Todd.
Thank you, Jeff.
That's Todd Liston coming away with the top 3 run tonight. Like to thank him and the rest of the top 3 for taking the time to speak with us during post-race coverage here on Maconie Entertainment. So with that note here, Braden, your final thoughts on tonight, as in the end, a new winner, and we get ready for a different track.
Yeah, I think it's going to set the tone for the rest of the season. A lot of guys out here having good runs, getting ruined late in the race. Thomas Ogle looking at the points before any bonus points are accounted, which actually will hurt Thomas Ogle. Ryan Bianchi comes out of this race as your points leader, only 6 points to Ryan Pittman and about 9 points to Thomas Ogle. So points battle heating up, only 3 races in, and next time we go out on track, it's going to be North Wilkesboro. Going to be a lot of tire wear, a lot of dicey and slicey.
Once again, that's Tuesday, April the 23rd at 8:30 p.m. start once again. Be sure to tune in here on Maconie Entertainment. On that note, it's time to say goodbye. First, thank you to the YesterYear Racing administration team led by Alan Wanamaker for their work in bringing this league to life. Calling the action tonight was myself, Justin Prince, alongside ARC Menard Series racer Braden Laster, with Jorge Canales producing. Thanks to our viewers for watching tonight's racing action. We hope you stay tuned to our social media pages for our next race. Thanks to the entire staff for bringing this work in turn for breaking this race over to you via breakdance. This has been a production of Maconie Entertainment. We'll see you next time.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconie.
With the launch of Maconie Entertainment and Maconie Competizone alongside Maconie's Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconieSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconie Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.